Hi everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. Happy Saturday, happy Sunday. All right, we know China's true population is far below than the official 1.4 billion due to mass death toll from COVID. And now the truth is coming out. Chinese people are on the brink of discovering the truth of their country's population, the real population. Across China, one question echoes, where did everyone go? People are asking, where are the people? On January 17th, the Chinese National Bureau of Statistics released data stating that as of the end of 2024, China's population was 1.408 billion, 1,408 million, a decrease of nearly 1% from 2023, a decrease of 1.39 million. Well, we know China's real population is not anywhere near 1.4 billion. I've discussed that in several programs before. I think China's actual population is under 900 million. Is it 800, 700? That I don't know, but I know for sure that it's under 900 million. And the decline is due to two main factors. The first is the demographic and social issues caused by decades of the one-child policy, including gender disparity, wealth disparity, and urban-rural disparity. And the second factor is the high casualties from COVID-19 pandemic. Since 2020, an extremely large number of people have died, but Beijing has been covering it up. Since the outbreak began in Wuhan at the end of 2019, the actual death toll in China remains a mystery. The situation worsened after Beijing abruptly lifted the extreme zero COVID policy in December 2022, triggering a massive outbreak. At that time, crematoriums and funeral homes across China were overwhelmed. Soon after, China's Civil Affairs Department stopped publishing funeral and cremation statistics. As of today, the authorities still have not resumed releasing this data. Now, a new outbreak has been sweeping across China since late last year. Hospitals and crematoriums are again overwhelmed. However, state media and social media are censoring the information, dismissing it as influenza. The founder of Falun Gong, Master Li Hongzhi, said in early 2023 that China lost 400 million people during the pandemic, and another 100 million would die before the pandemic ended. Many people brushed it off or even laughed at Falun Gong. But now, the hard truth is coming out, and people are witnessing it firsthand. The disappearance of a significant portion of China's population is becoming undeniable. Across China, people are asking the same question. Where did everyone go? People from all over China are realizing this disappearance. They share videos on social media showing how once bustling places are now basically empty. And also during the Chinese New Year, which is the busiest travel season in China, even first-tier cities like Beijing and Shanghai went quiet. So let me play you a video that shows people asking that dreadful question. And here we go.
Let
me start from the very beginning. I indicate where the person is in the top left corner, so you could see the city where they're from.
你有没有发现今年北京人越来越少了？本来啊，年后是返京的高峰期，然而今年大把的房子却租不出去啊，路上也冷清了不少。
你有没有发现北京城里的北京人越来越少？工作单位几乎没几个北京人。北京800万土著都去哪儿了？
这就是北京首都的现状。这前头是原来我在这做生意的时候一个3岔路，这上班一般的情况都是必经之路。看看这上下班5点多钟这没人，这是必经之路，上下班就这点人，看见没？原来都是人挤人车挨车的，现在根本就没有，熙熙攘攘。
首先问一下， 有没有在上海的朋友，或者经常去上海的朋友，你们有没有一个感觉，就是貌似上海的人仿佛比原来少了，晚上上海的夜生活也比原来冷清了，就是那种烟火气差了很多。我为什么有这感觉呢？我去上海出差了一趟，我同学请我吃了个饭，他找了北外滩的白玉兰广场的兰心餐厅吃本帮菜，可能是在工作日6点多，客座率大概50%左右，整个商场呢人寥寥。我以前是经常去上海出差的，隔3差5就去。那么对比一下以前跟现在，确实感觉现在的人流量不如从前了。无论是大街上，还是商场里，还是说晚上。
这年都过完了，上海的人都去哪里了？你们有没有发现地铁上的人少了，商场里也是非常的冷清，就连以前最热闹的步行街现在也关了不少。
不知道是不是我的错觉，我感觉上海人口变少了好多。
兄弟们，我现在到上海，你看上海现在的人特别少，现在做2号线几乎没人，座位随便坐，随便坐。
你们有没有觉得啊，像广州这样的大城市啊，人都变少了，商场上没人，街上也没人，到处都没人。谁能分析一下人到底去哪了？是都回农村的老家了吗？还是说去别的地方发展？我在广州做这么久的贷款，我也感觉说，城市里面的人啊，真的越来越少了。但是啊，就是不知道人去哪了。
14年前我来广东做衣服，那时候但凡是个周末或者小节假日，街上真的人山人海，哪里都是人。晚上那夜市啊，真的搞到2、3点，街上都是灯火通明。可是现在呢，到12点，那夜市基本上已经黑灯瞎火了。以前我们这边租房子那是一房难求，现在租房子是随你选，到处都是房子。
Okay, all right. Well, we just saw. I think I realized I made a mistake in the translation of one of the videos. It should be 8 million native 8 million Beijingers, not 800 million. I think I accidentally. It should be 8 million, not 800 million. So that was a mistake in the translation of the subtitles. But what we saw is the situation in Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, the 3 mega cities of China. And many people assume that maybe people in those large cities or mega cities had simply left for better opportunities in second-tiered cities, or they might have returned to their hometowns in the countryside. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the smaller cities and also in rural China. Let's take a look at what people there are saying. Here we go.
这边啊，这
Okay, this is in Suzhou.
大家可以看一下，以前咱们苏州这边啊，这大街小巷啊，全是人山人海的。现在呢，你再去看一看，人烟稀少，压根就没什么人，商场没人，广场没人。连摆地摊的啊，都是大眼对小眼，没什么生意，打工的人也越来越少了。那我想问一下，这人啊，到底去哪里去了？我本以为啊，只有咱们苏州人变少了，但是万万没想到，其他城市也一样啊。我打听过了，上海、扬州、南通、无锡、常州这些地方啊，打工的人啊，也越来越少了。那么问题出哪里？人到去哪里去了
？14亿人口的大国
，900万人口的济南，
街上没有人，
店里也没人，
人都去哪儿了呢？
你觉不觉得珠海这个城市人越来越少了？你看珠海商场没人，街上也没有人。珠海拱北之前那可是人山人海，现在到处都没人。谁分析一下人到底去哪里了？
这几年我在武汉感觉人越来越少了，以前光谷转盘挤不上公交车。春运上火车得爬窗户啊，但现在坐车都不用抬脚了，大家都去哪里了？
我突然之间发现了一个很可怕的问题，说过年呢，你说城市里面没有人，这个大家都知道，但是我在农村的表哥说农村都没有什么人，农村都是这样冷冷清清的。你说咱们中国14亿的人口，这些人都去哪里了呢？
你们有没有发现一个问题？以前我们只有12亿人口。但是不管你到哪儿，到处都是人，热热闹闹的。什么农村里头啊，田间地头啊，水库河边啊，到处都有3、5成群的小孩啊，嬉嬉闹闹的， 满满的人间烟火气儿。还有就是那个城市里面啊，商场、马路上、小吃那都是到处都是人山人海。一到什么节假日了，各个景区全都人满为患。而现在我们14亿人口，反而到处都冷冷清清，农村再也没有了人，除了几个老年人在那守村以外啊，你就看不到什么人。学校也都倒闭了，县城里啊好像也没什么人，大街上、商场里到处都冷冷清清的。2线城市也没人，除了几个旅游景区，你看看啊，有点人以外，商场没人，饭店没人，大街上没人。除了上下班时间，你看道上跑的车以外，能有点车。平时的时候，你看那车你都看不着几台。甚至北京、上海这样的超一线城市，也说没人。公交、地铁啊，早高峰时期你都能看到啊，那都有座位啊，更别说大街上、商场里。你说这人都哪儿去了呢？他们到底是去哪儿了呢？感觉这社会怎么死气沉沉，没有一点烟火气儿啊。
Okay. Wow. So despite the fact that the Chinese government is trying to cover up, people are now seeing with their own eyes the drastic decline in population. It's becoming harder and harder for the government to hide it. Recently, several local governments in Jiangsu province released population data, revealing a huge gap between the number of births and number of deaths, raising public suspicion about the accuracy of China's official 1.4 billion population. People are discovering that what the Falun Gong founder said 2 years ago is correct. So on February, let me show you the slides, maybe this one. Oh, actually, sorry, no, this. Okay. This one was on, yeah, this was Taizhou. No, this was Taizhou. Let me go to the other one. On the other, yeah, this is Taizhou. This is February 11th of this year. The government website of Jiangyan district of Taizhou city in Jiangsu released its end of 2024 population data, stating that in the year, the district had only 2,200 births, new births, but 8,000 deaths. Think about it. The number of deaths was 3.5 times that of new births. It also reported a population decline of 8.71% over the previous year. And then on January 26, the county level city of Xinhua, Jiangsu, also published its end of year population, showing 3,300 new births and 14,500 deaths. The total number of deaths was 4.4 times that of new births, and the population decline announced by the city government was 10%. Can you imagine a city losing 10% of its people in just 1 year? Again, these are official figures, meaning that the real numbers could be much worse. And then in a township in Sichuan, this one, it's called Dazhu County, Miaoba Township, which is a township that consists of 13 villages. At the end of 2021, the official registered population was 56,000, while the permanent resident population was 39,000. Local residents revealed that in 2024, 500 people died, while only 12 babies were born. Think about it. The death rate was 42 times that of new births. Something is seriously wrong here. I highly doubt that the county still has 39,000 people, right? It's impossible. Nor do I believe that only 500 people died. It could be more. So such a shocking low birth rate suggests a significant portion of the population vanished between 2021 and 2024. By the way, the person who posted this said that now he believes what the Falun Gong founder, Mr. Li Hongzhi said or had said was right. So the staggering disparity in birth and death rates in these localities has fueled growing skepticism about China's actual population numbers. Recently, a Chinese influencer who's known as Commissioner Pang posted a video claiming that China's death toll has reached its peak. He said that during a recent trip to Changsha via a local highway, over 155-kilometer stretch, which is 96 miles, he counted the number of households that were holding funerals or mourning services. Because in China, we have family members who passed away. They do the service at home, and they redecorated their home with all white, so people know that somebody from this family had died. So he counted over a stretch of 96 miles or 155 kilometers, 17 households were holding funeral or mourning services, while only one household was celebrating a wedding. So, and what I want to share with you now is a Chinese user used Elon Musk's Grok 3 to explore the total deaths in China during the pandemic, and the AI's response was shocking. So the user wrote this post, and he said, Grok 3 is incredible. I just challenged it with a big question using its reasoning function or logic function. So the question is, how many people in China actually died during the 3 years of the pandemic? In just 29 seconds, it searched vast amounts of publicly available data, designed a regression analytical model, set control variables, and ultimately arrived at a purely data-driven conclusion. And so here's Grok 3's answer in Chinese. The top is the question, the bottom is the answer from the AI. So answer reads, due to the CCP's strict control and censorship of COVID-19 death data, the official death toll of 60,000 as of 2023 has been widely questioned. It is generally believed that the actual number is much higher. However, due to restricted access to data, obtaining direct statistics is impossible. This article, meaning the one that the AI is writing or just wrote, attempts to indirectly estimate the population decline in mainland China from early 2020 to early 2023 by analyzing changes in Chinese residents' consumption behavior during the Lunar New Year period. After analysis, China's population is estimated to have decreased by 150 million to 200 million. So think about it. All previous estimates of China's COVID-19 deaths were in the millions, right? But this 200 million deaths estimate by AI, generated by AI using official economic data, was shocking to many people. So another Chinese social media influencer pointed out that the above analysis based on consumption data during the Lunar New Year period may have restricted the reasoning, the logic and reasoning process. He suggested to include other key economic indicators such as GDP growth and unemployment rate in the model. So he tested Grok 3 by asking the question in a different way. So he said, using China's consumption data, economic growth rate, unemployment rate, and other economic indicators, estimate creatively how much China's population declined from 2020 to 2023 during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then the AI outlined a 4-step reasoning process. The first is called consumption gap It first referenced the decline in the Lunar New Year consumption, considering it a reflection of both population decline and behavioral changes. And then it went through a process called labor force contraction. This step factored in the impact of unemployment rates on consumption. 3, it's called pandemic-specific effects. So it accounted for unique consequences of COVID-19 crisis. And the last one is called comprehensive scenario analysis. After gathering all the online data, Grok 3 performed a normalization step before finalizing its results. So the last step the AI did was a step called creative validation, proposing a population shadow index. And this index indicated consumption volume, GDP growth, unemployment rates, and Lunar New Year travel data. And after running its calculations, it provided 2 estimates. It says a conservative estimate is that China's population decreased by 150 million from 2020 to 2023. A bold estimate, the population decline reached 200 million. So the influencer modified his question and ran 2 more tests and got similar results, with total deaths estimated between 120 million and 200 million. So the answers are consistent, right? I didn't test it myself, but I think their approaches are solid. However, I believe the 200 million deaths is still an undercount because it's based on CCP's official economic and consumer data, which we know has been beautified and inflated. So if we must adjust the 200 million deaths by normalizing the base economic data, the true figure may be between 400 million and 500 million deaths. Now think about it. Whether it's 200 million or 500 million, I think it doesn't matter, right? Because previously, all the estimate was in the millions, not even the tens of millions. So it makes COVID the deadliest event in human history, I think. And I think it's getting more and more difficult for Beijing to hide the huge loss of human life. And the truth will come out soon. Now, recently, Chinese social media was buzzing with the claim that 5% of the people born in the 1980s have died. Someone asked me this question last week during a live stream session. And so I want to address that. The claim is that 1 in 20 people in their prime years, aged between 35 and 44, have died in China. It caused panic in people and forced the government to step in and discredit it. But numbers don't lie, and they're based on official CCP data. Someone compared the original birth data from the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and compare them with the actual population in each age group today. Actually, let me share this with you. Actually, I have a screenshots. Where did it go? Oh, here's go. Yeah, this is the original Chinese post. So I know it's in Chinese. It's hard to read. So let me make this bigger. I just, retabulated the data in Excel. So what you saw was the image of the Chinese post, how they did the numbers in Chinese. And here's I just, took the number and put them in an Excel model. So this is what it looks like. The first column, I added a few columns to make it easier for you to read. So the first column is the decade of their birth year. The next column indicates their current age. Then we have the total original births, right? And compared to the existing population in the next column. We have a calculated variance. this variance should indicate the number of people who have vanished or died. I mean, the only explanation for the disappearance of these people is death. I mean, that's what the original study said. Although some people may argue maybe immigration, but I don't think immigration is a big factor here. I mean, there's no way tens of millions of Chinese have immigrated. I mean, obtaining a lot of Chinese have immigrated, but the number are not in this, in this scale. The last column on the right is the calculated percentage of people who have died or disappeared. So they found a 5% of the people in the prime age of 35 and 44 is gone. That's the last row that I highlighted in boldface. That's 1 in 20 people. This is shocking because 35 and 44, I mean, this age group is the most productive years in a person's life. How could China lose so many people in their prime years? That's shocking. I think equally shocking is the other age groups. If you look at people born in the 1950s, it's still troubling. People born in the 1950s, they are now between the age of 65 and 74. 20% are gone. That's 1 in 5 people. Now, these people are not really elderly. I mean, they're just 65 to 74 years old, yet 1/5 of them have vanished. People born in the 1960s, ages 55 to 64, nearly 6% is gone. In the US, people in this age group are still working. They haven't even retired. Yet in China, tens of millions are missing. Well, we don't have data for people born in the 1940s and even before that, because that was before the CCP's time. And if there was any data, it would be under the Republic of China's data, if they still have it. So now let me come back. This is shocking. So CCP's cover-up of COVID deaths and the regime's manipulation of demographic data is the worst lie in human history, in my opinion. It will be recognized as the biggest lie in history, as it involves the life and death of hundreds of millions of people. When exposed, the whole world will be shocked. And I think it will be a moment of reckoning for Chinese people, and there will be a great awakening. The videos that you watched earlier, the 2 videos I played, show us that we're not far from there. People are on the brink of figuring out that there aren't that many people in China. So with that, I wrap up my talk tonight. I think when I watched the videos, I found it unbelievable. I mean, when I did the program a couple of months ago, when I told you that I think China, there's only 800 million people in China, and I know many people ask me, well, how do we know? I think that there's no way to actually keep track of how many lives have been lost. The only way we can find out is by counting how many people are alive. And I didn't realize that this was happening so quickly, that it's already visible to people. They are finding out that there aren't that many people, as you've seen in the videos. So we're really not that far from uncovering the truth of COVID cover-up. So with that, I'll answer. Okay, so that's all for tonight. Before I take any questions from you guys, let me answer a question. I want to read you this question I got from a subscriber. She's a mother. She sent me this email that I want to share with you. She said, my 17-year-old son was very fortunate to travel to China last June in 2024 with a group of 30 high school students from Iowa. The travel was at the invitation of Xi Jinping. It is his program to bring 50,000 American high school students to China in 5 years. My son loved the trip And the students experienced something amazing that caused my husband and I to feel concerned that the high school students were being treated like royalty, and this must have caused stress to people in the host city, Shijiazhuang. One morning, the students traveled by bus to go to the zoo, and they had a police escort. No other cars were on the highway during a morning commute time. Now we know why. There aren't that many people left. Okay, let me go back to this message. Then she said, later that day, the students traveled by bus again to a mountain to go indoor skiing. The kids were amazed by the experience and how well they ate, how gracious the hosts were, and the fantastic activities they were treated to. The American students met Chinese students who were excellent hosts, very intelligent and high-performing in music, sports, and logic-based competitions. There were some fun competitive activities with the American students. And she asked me, Lei, what do you think is going on with these trips? The trip was all expenses paid by the Chinese government. The trips are still offered this year. Now, the American families are asked to pay $300 of a trip valued at about $5,000. My son still communicates to the Chinese student friend he made at the school they visited in Shijiazhuang. Now, I must say, this is precisely how the CCP has corrupted the rest of the world. I'm not saying that your son is corrupt or these high school students. They're innocent. But you must know that Shijiazhuang is in a region that has been in decline economically for the past decade. The northeast of China has been struggling for years. People there are poor. Many young people have left the region to look for opportunities elsewhere. The CCP doesn't spend that kind of money on Chinese students or its adults. I mean, they just don't spend that kind of money on its own people. Instead, Chinese students are treated poorly. There have been so many reports about schools and teachers or school administrators stealing their lunch money by feeding them, terrible food. And, really, when we say terrible food, they're not just like food that people that are not healthy. They're like food that human beings should not be eating. Okay. But the Chinese government use this kind of money to overwhelm American kids and their parents to buy their influence. Think about 50,000 American high school students are being treated this way. And then how are they going to have an objective evaluation about the communist China? And the students that they met are carefully vetted. I'm sure there are probably the kids of officials or kids of the VIPs, the CCP's VIPs. These kids are carefully vetted so that they're allowed to interact with the Americans. They're not everyday Chinese students. And sadly, the point that I want to make here is this type of program does not serve the United States or China any purpose, because this is precisely the reason why there's anti-American sentiment in China. This is precisely the reason why some Chinese people have unexplained hatred for foreigners, and particularly Americans, because their government spends so lavishly on Americans and nothing on them. I've seen that firsthand because I have family members, who are so close to me, who do not like the Americans. Because, on one hand, it's the CCP propaganda saying that the reason the Chinese economy is not doing well is because of the trade war, is because, the U.S. government is strangling China's economy. And then on the other hand, they also witness how their government spends so much money on foreigners, on this type of programs. And so they feel like they're second-class citizen. They can't vent their hatred to their government because it's costly to them. So they vent their hatred to the Americans. So this type of programs are terrible, in my opinion. And I think American schools should boycott that. We should not send our kids over because everything is staged. Yeah, I think they might have, I mean, they also would have to protect these American kids. They probably have to vacate the entire zoo to welcome these American kids. So of course, these kids are being treated like royalties. That's the whole purpose. They want to overwhelm you with their quote unquote hospitality, but at the cost of the well-being of the Chinese people. And so it does not, and then it's going to cause so much negative feelings in China against the Americans. So it serves no one well except the CCP. So I want to read you that question. I thank this mother for writing to me, and I think so. I want to make a point here. All right, let me see what questions people have for me. Okay, if any of you have any similar experience, in China, please share. We can share our experiences here. So here I see one colorful sticker from. Let's see. There's so many questions here. There's so many comments. Do I see something? I think I saw a color sticker. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. This is from Catherine. Another excellent deep dive. Thank you, Lei. Praying for all humanity. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think we do need to pray. That's how I feel. Okay, given everything that's been happening in the last couple of days. All right. Well, thank you, Catherine. Let's see. Any other? Okay. Oh, here's a question from Ken. Okay, here's a question, a comment from Ken Len, who says, I'm in Guangdong now. I can tell you that all your videos shown are accurate. I have lived here as an expat since the 2000s, and I have never seen my life in this second-tier city this empty. Well, here we have a viewer sharing his first-hand experience. Where did the people go? That's the question. People in the cities assume that people have gone to the countrysides. But then people in the countrysides are saying the villages are empty. They assume that people have all left for the cities. So now when people compare notes, they figure out that everywhere it's empty. So the question is, where's everyone? All right. Okay, question forwarded by Chris from Wheezy Squeezebox. Is everyone laying flat in their apartments? No. I mean, you can, but you still have to go out. I mean, you still have to go out, right? Do grocery shopping. You still have to. I mean, when people walk, people just. I mean, even if you lay flat, that just means you don't go to work. But when people are at work, they are not walking around, in shopping malls or on the street. So, even if you choose not to work, you still have to go out to do shopping. You still have to go out one way or another. So I don't think it's the fact that people are laying flat. I mean, it may be part of the reason, but it should not have caused this type of it should not shrink the population. It should not be so visible. I don't think people can afford. I don't think that many Chinese can afford to lay flat. It's only a small percentage of people doing that. because people have to make a living. They have to go out and work and support themselves and their families. Texas Panda, when in China, I would tell the factories, I would task my meals I would take my meals with the workers. The quality of the meals was greatly increased for them. Okay, well, that's excellent. All right, let's see. Well, here's a question from Master G Big. Lei, you have to realize that a great number of Chinese have left China and now live in other parts of the world. And no matter what, they don't want to go back. But there are still a small number. The United States probably has the most Chinese immigrants. But we're talking about millions at most. There aren't even, and now there aren't that many because a lot of the students are back. So I do consider that a factor, but they're not. I mean, there's no way hundreds of millions of Chinese have immigrated to other parts of the world. It's impossible. The total population in the US is 350 million. In Europe, it's 400 some million. There's no way the 500 million Chinese have left China. No. There are some, but they're in the millions at most. And they're scattered around the world. Nick Fury, Lei, can you talk on the Trump-Zelensky brawl at White House yesterday and China's reaction? I haven't followed what China's reaction is awkwardly silent. Someone was just saying that. Did you notice that the Chinese government has been silent and, on a lot of issues? I think it ties to the power vacuum that I talk about. I think they don't know how to react because not really one faction is in charge. There have been so many personnel changes. I just saw that they just announced a personnel change. The person in charge of internet censorship, the internet, there's an office, 网信办, the internet control and surveillance office. The head of that person is being replaced. It used to be someone loyal to Xi Jinping. Now they're putting someone else. And also the Minister of Public Security is going to step into another role, and he's replaced with someone else. So I think they're shifting. So many people, so many high-level officials are being, pushed around. So there are a lot of personnel changes. I don't think at this point they are reacting to that. So, if I see something, I'll let you know. But what happened at the White House on Friday didn't surprise me because I already said in my program the week ago, maybe it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I mean, when I was doing the research on why the two didn't see eye to eye or don't see eye to eye, I realized that their objectives are very different. And I think it's one thing when you negotiate over the phone or through your subordinates. It's another thing when you are face to face, because the two men fundamentally have very different ideas about what they want. So how are they going to reach a deal? And it shows. So yeah, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for Ukraine. I'm not saying this because I'm on anyone's side. I'm just saying we have two leaders that don't have the same vision. It's hard, it's difficult for them to reach an agreement. And that goes for anyone and any leaders. I think when I said it at the time, maybe, it's seriously unfortunate. Okay, Charles Womack, awesome show. Well, thank you, Charles. Mark, fine. Well, thank you, Mark. All right, here's a question Chris forwarded from Ed Seyfert. Lei, hi. My question is, how bad is the new COVID variant outbreak? Is China looking at a new mass casualty scenario? Yes, it's pretty bad. Watch my program last Saturday. I covered this topic last Saturday, a week from today, and it was a program dedicated to COVID. I mean, not just COVID. I mean, a significant part of that program was on COVID. The lot of deaths. The crematoriums and the funeral homes are overwhelmed. People are, it's backed up. You have to pay a bribe in order to cremate your loved ones' remains. And in rural China, the government has relaxed the restriction on burial, because in the old days, peasants just bury their families, at the edge of the farmland or at the edge of the mountains. I mean, they don't have to pay for the land because they live on the land. And then the Chinese government tried to regulate that, so they force the peasants to pay to have their families' remains cremated. So that became a dispute, right? A serious issue of contention in rural China. Now the government has relaxed that rule, allowing the peasants to bury their loved ones through burials, purely because the crematoriums are so backed up and overwhelmed. So that just tells you how deadly the outbreak is. But we don't know what it is. Although the Beijing CDC, I said in that program a week ago, I said the Beijing CDC gently linked it to COVID. Before that, they were denying. I think it was on February the 4th, the Beijing CDC gently said that going forward, COVID and other outbreaks will, they will alternate. Yeah. Anyways, so it's very sad that people are dying en masse, and nobody is talking about it. Okay. All right, let's see. Plurestatus. Lay's challenged. Your salt consumption data suggests that China population is under 1 billion. Yes, I did a number of programs on that. I think China's population is certainly under 1 billion. There's no way it's over 1 billion. It's absolutely under 1 billion. I think it's under 800 million. It could be under 700 million. But I don't think it's over 900 million. All right, boycott China. Lady Lay, why wait any longer for the one that you love? Is that a song? Why he's standing writing for Neil Diamond? I don't know what. Is that a song from Neil Diamond? Okay, all right. Well, thank you for the donation. I certainly appreciate that. Let's see. All right. Yes, Peter said it's a song. Okay. Well, I have not heard this. I have not heard the song. Neil Diamond. Isn't he still alive? He's old, right? Okay. It's a song. It's Bob Dylan. Okay. All right. Here we have a question from Nick Fury. Now addressed at me. Okay. All right, that's all. That's all for tonight. Sounds good? Oh, here's a question from Seek the Truth. Saw videos where China tumor hospitals are also being overrun. Some are saying it may be related to a delayed or long-term side effect of Chinese COVID vaccine. Yes, there's so much social media discussions about the side effects of Chinese vaccines, from leukemia to diabetes to cancer. And today I saw some men claim that it causes ED in men, that there are a lot of divorces because the husband has ED. So it sounds terrible. I mean, the Chinese vaccines, and also cardiovascular problems. Will China from pluristratus? I appreciate the donation, and the question is, will China try to take over Siberia? Well, the Chinese people certainly, want to, I think, but their governments doesn't have the courage at this point. I don't think the CCP has under CCP's rule, China has ceded so much land to its neighbor, to Russia, to India. So I don't think the CCP will have the guts to even negotiate with Russia to take back Siberia. Not take back Siberia, take back, the northeast part of China, right? All right. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for the double stickers and the question. No, China will not try to take back Siberia for now. At least not under the CCP. I can't speak for the next government because I don't know who will be in charge. Although I have an idea, but it's too early to say. Brandon G. Using 2017-2018 as baseline, are there any credible statistics indicate annual all-cause mortality level from 2020 onward? Using 2017-20 as baseline, are there any credible statistics indicate annual all-cause? What you mean for China? In China, we do not get any data from China on the mortality, on the mortalities starting from 2020. I mean, the cremation data, I don't think there's anything. The only data we're getting is economic data. Whether it's salt consumption, travel activities, even truck transportation on, truck activities on highways, holiday travels. So, I mean, we could only guess based on those economic data because they are still available to us. But there's no data about the mortality rate or casualty, or if there are, they're not reliable. Okay, that seems to be all. I thank everyone for joining me. Okay, that seems to be all. Well, thank you everyone. Lei is an angel. Thank you for the kind words. I certainly appreciate that, although I don't feel like one right now because an angel can fly and I cannot fly yet. All right, I'll try to figure out how to fly. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and goodbye.